and raise the pages. One code base through the ages. From the back end to the view. C#'s got my workflow smooth. No need for APIs. Signal just syncs my life. State is shared, no reload. This is how the future's code. I'm blazing with Blazor, feeling alive. Full stack magic server side. .NET's got me flying high. Hot reload, I touch the sky. I'm blazing with Blazor, watch me go. Interactive pages, real-time flow. No JavaScript, no delay. C#'s the future, here to stay.
Started out lost in the code. Too many stacks, didn't know where to go. Then I found the one sleek and tight. .NET got me coding alright. From the back end to the cloud, C# makes me feel so proud. Cross-platform, let's ignite. One framework to rule my life. Built on .NET, running smooth. Enterprise apps are indie groove. Microservices, APIs. From Blazor pages to AI. It's fast, it's strong, got no regrets. Cloud to desktop, no limits left. One ecosystem, let's go next. I built the future on .NET. EF Core, my queries fly. SQL magic, watch it ride. REST or GraphQL, take your pick. Web APIs to scale up quick. From the back end to the cloud, C# makes me feel so proud. Cross-platform, let's ignite. One framework to rule my life. Built on .NET, running smooth. Enterprise apps are indie groove. Microservices, APIs. From Blazor pages to AI. It's fast, it's strong, got no regrets. Cloud to desktop, no limits left. One ecosystem, let's go next. I built the future on .NET. Built on .NET, running smooth. Enterprise apps are indie groove. Microservices, APIs. From Blazor pages to AI. Go from measure functions to MAUI apps. Machine learning, bots that chat. Hot reload keeps my code intact. One command, I'm shipping fast.
Hello, hello, can you hear me? Can you just say hi in the chat maybe? That would be really, really nice. And then let me switch the screen. Now you should also see me. Is anybody there? Hi. Hello there. Nice to see you. Yeah, let's just see. I'm just trying this now. New stuff with the lives. And you see that the green screen is not configured properly. But yeah, second time live. Nice. Nice. Great that you hear me. So for today, I just wanted to try a bit of live coding. And I wanted to explore vertical slice architecture. Are you with me there? Do you also want to explore vertical slice architecture with me? Because the idea behind that is that I want to build an ASP.NET Core Web API. Let's just see how far we've come today. I don't know how long I will be able to stream because, you know, children are asleep, but maybe they are waking up. I don't know. So maybe half an hour or so, or maybe an hour. We'll see. And let's just create a project. Do you have everything in mind? Because if you don't have any ideas, then I will create a video game API using the vertical slice architecture. So this is what I would like to do today. So let me see if someone has a good idea. I think there is a big delay. Hope it's not too long. But if not, let's just try it with the video game API live. We hit next. A CRM system. Yeah, that's really big. I'd say happy Friday, yeah. But if you want me to build a CRM system, what would be models? Let's see, just a simple CRUD application, simple CRUD API. Would that be okay for a CRM? I think in this case it would only be a person model, or well, not a character, but really just a person. You wanna use a person instead of video games? Tell me. Okay, then let me go back. Let's see, CRM API live. And I think I will share the code then later. I wouldn't do authentication for now. Let's just try it that way with controllers. And I really just want to see. Oh wow, Steve, thank you very much for joining the .NET Web Academy. All the others .NET Web Academy currently, I actually didn't want to plug this, but when you are saying that you joined the masterclass and you're happy with it, thank you very much. Currently the spring sale is still running, so maybe you want to grab the membership or the masterclasses there as well. Now regarding the CRM, again, I wouldn't use authentication for now. Maybe we can add this later in this project. Maybe this is a series thing here with the live sessions. Not sure about that. As I said in the beginning, this is the second time trying this live stuff, and I hope you guys like it. So now you wanted to build a CRM. So this is really beginner stuff, but still I hope it helps. There's a lot of beginner stuff in my or on my channel, so maybe that's why you're here. What I would do is really first just create a new folder for the entities, and probably there's only one entity at the beginning, and that would be then the person, in my opinion, regarding a CRM, or the customer. Tell me, what is the better name? Customer, person, human? I don't know. It's clean, the live. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm trying it with a green screen. It's the first time using a green screen, and it is not really. I think you see it. You see it here. There's something not properly lit, I guess. So I have to work with that. Okay, I see customer. This is great. So the customer it is. And now regarding the IDs, I think this is a debate that we, or maybe you also hear all the time. Well, this is nice. I'm not sure if this is IntelliCode or already GitHub Copilot. I'm playing around with Copilot now because it's free. If you don't know it, lately they added it, a free version. So Visual Studio suggested to just add Copilot, and I said, well, why not? So I think these are already great suggestions, but let's make them, initialize them as an empty string maybe. To get rid of the warning, we could also make them required, but I think this is okay. Or nullable as well would also work. But what about the ID? Guys, integer or the GUID? We are in the Microsoft world. I think GUID is something that most of us use. Good, okay. Nice. All right, then it is a GUID. Okay, we got name, email, phone, whatever. Yeah, it's we don't have a lot of space up here under the roof. Okay, what else? Name, email, phone. I think they created stuff like that, maybe. Address, maybe. But I think we can really make this, eventually make a series out of that. If the whole setup works and you guys like this, then maybe we can use EF Core with migrations, leave out the address, because for an address, I would really like to use relationships and add an address entity later. And then, you know, use a street, house number, whatever it is, a postal code, city, and so on, but not an address here now, because I think it would violate everything in essence. I think already the first rule of using proper relationships. But anyways, so let's just keep it at that. But I think dates would be nice. So maybe a date time for date created, something like that. And that could already be date time and now maybe. And then maybe also date updated, like that, and make this nullable, not there, of course, there. So there's our customer, And the next step, in my opinion, would be all the boilerplate regarding EF Core. No, I don't think AI will replace programmers. Funny that you're asking that, because at the first time going live, there was the same question. AI is amazing. If you like, we can try it with GPT. We can try building this application now with GPT. Give me just a thumbs up or say, yeah, GPT, yes, do GPT, and see what GPT tells us to do. And then we can try to really just copy paste some code, see what are the results. But otherwise, we will just do it on our own. Active, bool, active. Okay, this is something that we can add. Prop bool is active by default. This is true. I don't think I could ever be happy using CQRS. Well, interesting. Maybe. Hey, Jason, thank you so much for joining. Jason is the very first member of my channel. So thank you so much. Great to see you here. And yeah, maybe you also want to become a member. Again, I'm playing around now with new stuff. Going live, adding a membership. I think it's the lowest price you can set there. So this would be $2.99 for the membership, and you can enjoy videos earlier than everyone else. Upcoming YouTube videos. I like the is deleted. Is active, is deleted. We can do that as well. So we will add a soft delete later on. Is deleted, of course, false by default. And oh, nice. Welcome to YouTube supporter. Thank you so much. Of course I'm gonna stream C#. What else am I gonna stream? Just .NET and C# and Blazor. All right, so thank you very much for joining. Router, not sure what your real name is. Is it Router? Is it another name? I don't know. So, okay, we got an ID. Name, email, phone, is active, is deleted, date created, date updated. I only got one thumbs up for GPT. Router, all right. Jason also says router. Should we use GPT or not? Last question, last chance. Yeah, Randy, I also think Blazor is amazing, even with the render modes, or in particular with the render modes. I saved your soul. You're welcome, you're welcome. Any more votes for GPT? Not GPT. Jesus. Almost spilled my tea. Yeah, I have a little cold, sore throat. Okay, but have you graduated already, Clash? But no answer. All right. Anyways, so I think next step, data DB context, data context, you name it. Final semester of a bachelor's degree. Currently 2 months left. All amazing. Fingers crossed. Wish you all the best. And do you want to continue? Add a master's degree afterwards? That's the big question. Here in Germany, you can also do the bachelor and afterwards the master. I got a master's degree in computer science. So first the bachelor and then 3 years bachelor, then 2 years master's degree, but that's a long time ago. Was a lot of fun, great time. Sometimes I miss this time. It was amazing with all the, we had a group of 5 guys and learned together. So this is just amazing, doing all that together then. All right, so I would call this infrastructure for now and add a DB context. So a new item, let me call this just the CRM DB context. Really, really simple. Yeah, Clash, do it. Hello from Brazil. Greetings to Brazil. Brazil it is. Awesome that you're tuning in. Thank you so much. So this is a DB context, I guess. but not the CRM DB context. And funny thing now with control and period, see fix with Copilot. Really have to do a bit more research, play around with that. But I want to install the package, Microsoft Entity Framework Core. We install the latest version. And this is funny. I don't know if this is new with some of the latest versions of Visual Studio. I installed, or Visual Studio installed the package, added the using directive, but then it's gone again. So again, we have to press Control period. It's not bad, really not bad. We can do that. It's not a big problem. But this is interesting now, and I think again, this is it do you know what this is? Is it IntelliCode or is it Copilot? Because this looks pretty nice. And we're actually using AI here. So even if you don't want to use GPT, if it's Copilot, then, well, we have this now here. What I don't like is this thing. So I would like to use a using directive. Why not VS Code? I'm not a big fan of VS Code. I have to use VS Code at work for my employer. But I think it's just personal preference. I like using the mouse, using the templates there, seeing my solution explorer like that, having a solution, I don't know, right-clicking and then manage, you get packages, manage user secrets. I know sometimes people say, Mehmet, thank you so much for joining. This is amazing. Great to see you. Sometimes people say you're only a real coder if you're using the CLI, right? I don't think so. You should use what's the most fun to you and what makes you the most productive, maybe a developer. But really, the very first thing for me is having fun doing all that, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense in my opinion. And this throughout my whole life, actually. When I studied, when I was at university, when I even when I started programming at the age of, I don't know what it was, 8 or something like that, got my first computer, a 486, when I was in 3rd grade. How old are you then? Not 8, 10 years, maybe 10 years, when I was 10 years old. Started with Quick Basic, Turbo Pascal, all that stuff. And then moved on with Visual Basic.net back then, C++, all that stuff. And back then even used Visual Studio, you know, and I liked it. And at the beginning when VS Code was released, that was a time where I had to do a lot with Angular. Now I'm telling stories again, similar to the first time going live. And you know, with Angular, it was nice to use VS Code and .NET as for the backend. And then later, then it was AngularJS, and then was it AngularJS? Not sure if this is correct, but definitely later with Angular and TypeScript, VS Code was great. So for the front end with JavaScript frameworks, indeed, I used VS Code a lot. Maybe even would use it still, but definitely since Blazor, I'm only using Visual Studio. I think it just works better for that kind of tech stack. Blazor for the front end, .NET Web API, or Blazor even for the back end. You name it. Is it okay to tell stories? I hope I'm not boring you. I hope this is not boring. Anyways, that is Copilot. Thank you very much, Clive. Is it Clive or Cliff? Really sorry for butchering your name if I did. Started with AngularJS. See? AngularJS, yeah. Use that too. Right click on things in Visual Studio. Same for me, Randy. Same for me. Okay, so we got the DB context going. And yeah, I think the next step, it's hard to concentrate or to focus sometimes when you're talking that much. So now let's just, no, of course not migrations. We need a connection string and we have to register the DB context. What do you like? Registering it here now in the DB context? What do you do? Or in the program CS? What's your jam? Tell me, guys. Oh, microservices and DB context. That's a good question, but maybe not for this project. Maybe we can do this later in in another episode maybe of the series then, if I decide to make this a series. I think I would have to build this. Build a little example. C#. Why did I choose C#? Well, I think it started with making games, and I started making games with Microsoft technology, if this sounds right. Back then, well, I made some, I don't know if you could call this games, but let's say a memory game, for instance. And for that, I could use the GUI, the graphical user interface of even Visual Basic.net back then. And then later, I made games with XNA. Do you know XNA? Jesus, it's a long time ago. Maybe we can Google for that. XNA framework. There it is. Microsoft XNA framework redistribute. Yep, this looks about right. Is it still available? Don't provide game developers with the XNA framework runtime libraries they can include with their product for redistribution on Windows platforms. I think you wouldn't use XNA now, because this is like, I don't know, 15 years ago. But there you would also use .NET and Microsoft technologies. So I made games there, and then I was working for a game developer company, for a game studio. Nice, das ist Copilot. Aber das sind Copilot, versteht man auch. I'm also understanding that. Nice. So anyways, long story short, I made games. Then I worked for a game company. They used Unity. There they used C#. And that's how I slipped into using C# in essence. And started loving C# and never wanted to go back. And then discovered that you can also build web applications, web services, whatever, with C# for the backend, web services, right? And then I stayed there, and I love it. Because back at university, I had internships, and even in some of the courses there, we used Java, not JavaScript, Java. And I never was a big fan of Java. And people say that C# is similar to Java. It is a bit. Syntax is pretty similar sometimes. But you know, C#, Visual Studio, .NET, Blazor, everything. It's just great. I just love it. All right. Anyways, let's register our database context. And I would say we do it here. So builder services at DB context, our CRM context. Again, this would be Copilot then. So it is the CRM DB context, right? Yeah. Let's add it here. And then it says use SQL Server. That's true. I use SQL Server Express, available for free. But we need something for that. And it is not suggesting what we need here. So now we can right click and add NuGet packages. And I like that. I like it that way. So now here, let's add SQL Server. Microsoft SQL Server, this one here, Microsoft SQL Server Database Provider for Entity Framework Core. So this is the one that we need. And I know that in tutorials of the past, I used the CLI, the .NET CLI for migrations. But now I tend to use also the tools. This stuff here. So Microsoft Entity Framework Tools, Entity Framework Core Tools for the NuGet Package Manager console. And it's great that you can now see the README here. It's pretty new, I think. And then here you see all the suggestions, right? What you can do with all the commands: add migration, get DB context, get migration, scaffold DB context if you want to use the database first approach, update database, very important. But most of the time, you only need add migration and update database. Maybe sometimes script migration. This would be interesting then if we manage to, not today, but maybe in another session, manage to deploy this to Azure, and then we want to use an Azure database, and then we want to, well, add the database then there. Then what we would not use is, hey, Ines, hope I said that right again. What you then would do is not run the migration locally and use the connection string of the Azure database. Then you would use the script migration. Well, this is what I use, the script migration command here to have a SQL script, and you can even do it after a couple of migrations actually, and then you get a complete script that is also, it works with every step of the migration. I forgot the right term there. I don't know, but I think you get the idea. ASMX web services. I remember ASPX applications, and I remember WCF services. Scaffold DB context is something I learned to appreciate the hard way. Okay, interesting. So now I hope it's installed now. Yeah. All right, so now we got our DB context and CRM contexts connection. CRM, let's call the CRM DB connection string. Okay, my wife is slipping through. You can see her now. Also working. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
To my 43 concurrent viewers? Isn't that great? 43. 43.
Hello, Christina God from the Online Writing Club. So if you're interested in online writing and you're a tech writer, a software developer, I can definitely help you set up your own newsletter. So maybe you want to check out the Online Writing Club. I'm also on YouTube and on Substack.
Do I get some ad revenue now? Do I get some ad revenue
mean
for
like
the ad?
From Peanuts.
That was not planned. But if you are a tech writer, you should definitely check out her channel. Christina God with a K. Christina God. This is the name. With the Online Writing Club. So if you are a tech writer and you also want to write a newsletter with Substack, maybe this is what she's doing. Well, not a tech newsletter, but a newsletter about online writing in general. Maybe this is something for you. And if you want to support her, you know what? You are here, you're watching live. So, YouTube, Christina God it is. I just dropped this here. Maybe you want to subscribe. That would be nice. Support her, guys. Right? She needs more subscribers. All right, anyways. So we got our DB context. We have the name of the connection string. I'm not sure if this is a good name, but let's just add a connection string here now. So here let's add connection strings. And nope, not the default connection, Copilot. This is the string that I want to use. And yes, this is the thing that I want to copy and paste from another window. So here now we got localhost SQL Express, not a video game DB. This is now the CRM DB, let's say. Trusted connection true, trust server certificate also true. We save everything. And I think now we can add a migration, right? We have the app settings, we have our context, we have our customer. All right, XML driven. Okay, the ASMX web services were XML driven. Well, I remember XML, of course, but not the happiest times, in my opinion. In particular with WCF services, there you also had to do a lot with XML. frog velocity, exactly what I was looking for. Just got started with VL and my friend recommended me the stream. Shout out to Lucas. All right. Sorry, VS. Ah, okay. Is this architecture popular? Vertical slice? Yeah, very popular actually. But not popular enough, I guess. But let me just add the migration. And you want to show me Kalebi Santos. I hope I said this right. Your repo. We can show your repo. Of course, we can show your repo. Let me just open up. There it is. Come on, where is it? There's Chrome. Okay, so GitHub it is. Let me just look for it. Tailwind.net. Let's see if it already finds it. Oh, there are a couple. Can you just paste the link into the chat maybe? That would be easier for me. Ines asks, what do you prefer, onion or vertical slice? It depends. It really depends. I mean, onion or clean architecture is amazing still, of course. Gives you structure, gives you decoupling, right? Has a lot of advantages, in particular with CQRS and Mediator. But I think many apps are too small or too mid-size maybe for a clean architecture. Still, we have to pay attention because it can be the case that your application grows, it scales, right? So it might make sense to start with clean architecture already at the beginning. But I was just lately playing around with vertical slice and it definitely makes sense to explore it further. So yeah, let's do that together, and I will definitely also post videos about that. This one, yeah, we will use vertical slice now for that. So I'm still waiting for the repo, but let me try that. Kalebi Santos. All right, so here's your plug. You see this now. I'm just showing it, I'm just leaving it here. I'm not playing around with that now, but maybe, guys, you want to play around with Tailwind and .NET using Blazor, I guess, with Tailwind, then this might be something. Yeah, there it is, .NET New Blazor. Okay, so just, yeah, play around with that if you want. Funny though, the next video on Tuesday will also be about Blazor and Tailwind, how to install Tailwind version 4 in your Blazor application. But yeah, anyways, okay, now Visual Studio is gone. And there it is, okay. Add migration, it is, and the mic is removing my keyword. Come on, add migration. Did I install the tools? No, I showed you the tools, but I did not install it. Interesting. But now they are installed, so now, again, yeah, there it is. Initial. So tell me, guys, are you familiar with Code First migrations, or should I explain it a bit further? Because what this thing is doing now, you see this new folder here, migrations. And in this file now, initial. Brian, familiar? Okay, thanks. But anyways, for the other ones, maybe what you see here is you got the up method and the down method, right? And since we only have one entity so far, if we update the database or let EF Core then run this, apply this migration, then we will get a customers table with all the properties as columns then that we got here, right? But what you have to do for that Entity Framework uses that and adds this column, this table, is this thing here. You have to add the DB set. All right. So this is migrations in a nutshell. And the next step now is to go back to the package manager console and write update database when you see the keyboard. I have to figure this out. All right, let's see. Build started, build succeeded, and you see lots and lots of stuff that EF Core is doing. And here you see the create table command and the select command. Yeah, but where is the database? Create database. There it is, the CRM DB. Okay, now let's open. It's already open. Nice. Let's just refresh. And we should get the CRM database. There it is. Nice. And our customers. We have no data so far, of course. All right, there it is. So as you see, these are the properties from our class, from our entity, and this is now in the database. All right. Okay. So next step, I would say, would be really CRUD, because I told you and promised you to use the vertical slice. And now regarding the vertical slice architecture or the structure, if you're familiar with onion or clean architecture or a layered architecture using services, stuff like that, then maybe you know the next step. What I also do in the with every new .NET version, I create this CRUD course, CRUD tutorial that's an hour long, where we use services and repositories to implement all the CRUD operations. This is now not the case with vertical slice architecture. What you tend to do here is you organize everything around features or use cases. So you would now create a new folder, call this features, like that. And then we get customers. So let's create another folder, call this customers, and maybe start with the simplest one, which would be getting customers. So we add, and this is tricky now. What you can do is create another folder for this specific use case, get customers, and then put files there. Or what people also do, and what Jimmy Bogart, who, let's say, invented the vertical slice architecture, is doing, and our baby girl is coughing, so maybe I have to take a break. Let's see. And maybe we can still do the get use case. Or you just use one file. Let's do the one file way. So get all customers. It would be in my case. And we then use a static class. And I know this might sound strange in the beginning, but this is the idea. And now, Jesus, Copilot. Okay, I did not see this before. Let's see what it is suggesting here. It's actually already pretty good, because the idea here now is that you have your request object in that single file, and then you also create a handler and a response object, and everything is in that file, and even the endpoint or even the controller would be then in this file. But you don't have to put everything in the single file. You can, of course, split this into several files and then organize it in one folder. But the advantage either way is that your coupling is loose, right? Still similar to clean architecture, but now regarding cohesion. So everything you need for this one feature here or for this one use case is then put together into one folder or even one file. And now let me, greetings. Let me just read the chat. As an internally, you can use, all right, I think that's nothing for me. Keep talking, guys. So anyways, let's, I don't know, let's try it. Let's just use AI. a little bit. Thing is now that Copilot is in essence already suggesting CQRS and mediator. And I think we can totally do that. So you have a query, which is a request. In this case, we want to get all customers. So in the end, it is just a select on the database. And regarding the other commands, so creating, updating, and deleting, this is then a command. In essence, this is CQRS in a nutshell. So you have queries, you have commands, you have stuff that only reads from the database and cannot destroy anything. So these are then your queries, and all the other stuff that can change the database, change the data there, these are then commands. But if you're installing a mediator, if you're using mediator, and I have to close Slack because there are messages coming all the time. Give me a sec. All right. So if you're using mediator, then it's not really necessary to use mediator in this specific case. But what mediator also gives you is some kind of structure, right? So you tend to implement the iRequest interface then, and then you need a handler with the iRequest handler interface as well. And then it forces you to write this handle method. So everything is available, everything you need to implement that. So let's just try that. And yeah, probably I have to, should explain it a bit more, but it's already late, so maybe this is too much for now. But again, if you like this, tell me that in the chat, then also in the comments, because of course this will go public then on my YouTube channel. If you want to see more live sessions, more live streams, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This also helps. Thank you. Okay, anyways, so first a mediator. So mediator it is, and fun fact, mediator is here, you see it by Jimmy Bogart. And again, this is also the guy who made, let's say, the vertical slice architecture famous. All right. So let's install mediator here. Yeah, we have a couple of errors. And now we can, I was hoping we can, yeah, there it is. Use mediator. All right, but let's see. So this is our query. You could also call this request, right? It's the iRequest interface in the end. IEnumerable, I tend to already use a list. Why not? We have a customer DTO here as a suggestion, and this actually makes sense. But the great thing is you don't have to call it customer DTO, right? Because you are in this scope of the get all customers feature or the get all customers use case. So you could also use a generic name like response in this case. All right. So this is totally up to you. So maybe here we have a public class response like that, and we get the ID, name, email, phone is active, deleted flag is missing right here. If you haven't seen it before, we have the is deleted, and not sure if this is necessary. Yeah, maybe they created like that. If you think something's missing, tell me that quick. Hope the delay is not too big. If this is good for testing purposes. So Glenn asked, this is all nice to have it in one file, but then again, is this good for testing purposes? Honestly, I don't know. So far, regarding vertical slice, it would be a good task, right? Would also be a good video, unit testing or integration testing with vertical slice architecture. But anyways, let's initialize that to get rid of the warning. Is active date created. All right, that's that. Then we got our handler. Now here we also want to use the list with the response. Okay. but here we can change this a little bit. I guess we can use the primary constructor. So let's use the CRMDB context here. This is already our context. And we don't need the mapper. If we want to map the entity and the or with the DTO, then I would use Mapster in that case. All right, so now here we also replace this thing and task. Yeah, we don't do async task. Actually should be correct. What am I missing? Wait a sec. I request handler handle. Okay, now we have strange effects. No need to modify the resulting lists. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Also, personal preference, I'd say. We don't need the list. Well, let's see. Let's just implement it. I'm not sure what the problem here is now. Oh yeah, why the query? Jesus. List response. Now we can remove this. We have the handle, we have the query, request, cancellation token, customers, context without the underscore, customers where is not deleted, to list async. Correct, but now regarding the mapper, let's use Mapster. So really quick, we install Mapster mapper, this one. I know that AutoMapper is also a thing, of course, still, but you see Mapster got many downloads. Let's just compare it with AutoMapper. Okay, that's a lot more. Also by Jimmy Boga. Oh, I did not know that. Interesting. So Mapster mapper it is. Sorry, Jimmy, I'm using Mapster now. So let's install this thing. And what should work now is, let's say, var results is now customers adapt to list response. All right. And we return the results like that. All right, I hope this works. Should be correct. Data updated. Yeah, it could be the case with AutoMapper and Copilot. Okay, and then let's add date updated as well. Date updated like that. All right, and for all the beginners, if now the properties of the DTO or the response object and the entity here, the customer object, are the same, then Mapster or AutoMapper have no problem mapping this, or should have no problem in the end. All right, so we got our query, we got our handler, we got our response class. What's missing now? The endpoint or the controller. We can't do that inside the static class. We have to use it outside. And guys, could you tell me, now I don't need a mapping config actually, Copilot, thank you. Would you like to use a controller or minimal API endpoint? Would be interesting to know what you guys think. Minimal APIs. CodeGen for Mapster. Okay. What about the endpoint controller or minimal API? Because we can use the minimal APIs. Actual fast endpoints. Yeah, fast endpoints with the repub pattern, right? Also something for a new video. Okay, we got 1 for controller, so 2 for minimal. And 1 for controller. Broken up into controllers anyway. Well, let's see. Do you know Kata? The Kata package? It's a bit easier then. So let's see. Let's try minimal APIs. Because what you can do with Kata, or let's start from another perspective. What I don't like about minimal APIs, when you start with minimal APIs, maybe you have the same experience, or maybe you know more than me, then you have to, I know you can use route groups and stuff, but typically you would configure the actual route here in the program CS, right? From Bavaria. Grüße zurück nach Bayern. Greetings. Controllers have overhead that minimal doesn't. Servus. Even if you organize with groups and so on. From Greece. Awesome. Hey, you're from the academy. Nice. Panayota. I hope I said that right. Nice to see you. Extension methods. Yep. Also a good way. But I think extension methods work, route groups work, but Kata is a great module that I got to know lately, so let's just use it. But anyways, what I wanted to tell you is that usually if you don't use extension methods, if you don't know route groups, then you would have to configure your endpoints here in the program CS. But even if you use route groups, you have to call some kind of method here. With Kata, this is not the case. And it's a great solution, in my opinion. Yes, it has said that right. Awesome. I didn't announce it. I didn't announce the live. This is really spontaneous. Maybe I should announce it for future sessions.
Who inspired you?
My wife. My wife was asking who inspired me. And she's sitting next to me here. And you should definitely check out her channel.
No, this is not about my channel.
Not about your channel. Yeah.
Maybe there are others outside who'd also like to do a live, you know?
Maybe others also want to do live. Yeah, now I took the leap and also went live now. And now she's going.
Patrick's gonna offer more live sessions now because I went live on Substack, and he was always like, you know, in the evening you're doing all these lives. I couldn't do these, and I'm so scared. And now he's here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Amazing that you all are here and listening to Patrick because he's a thought leader.
Yeah.
Web and Blazor.
Stop talking.
And also, I think
Panayota wants to see your channel.
Oh yeah,
Just
check
a
out my
sec.
channel. Yeah, Patrick and I, we are also thinking about
There it is.
offering a bootcamp for tech writers and software developers in case they want to build their most valuable asset in their business, an email list. So in case you're interested in that, you can just tell Patrick.
Just
about
subscribe to her and tell her.
Yeah, it's all about online writing and newsletters and so on.
Yeah. Okay, but now we have to write
I'm
an
like
endpoint.
an ad, you know?
Yeah,
like when
you really
watch
are.
a
You really
video
are.
And then you're like, oh, there's this annoying ad coming here.
Yeah, it's true.
Hopefully not that
YouTube will
annoying.
add. I think YouTube
Oh,
is adding ads anyways, so we have to pay
your
attention
live?
here. In the live, yeah, in the live. I think so. I don't know. It's all new stuff for me. Second time live now. Anyways, you want to write an endpoint. And Bob says you can create a single middleware that uses reflection. That's true. Ricotta does. You'll have to put something in your services definition. That's true. Bob, you're absolutely right. But of course, in the end, you can write this on your own. But Carter did it already, so I really like using Carter. And Elias says, you are so funny, guys.
Yeah, Patrick always wanted to do a podcast together.
I know. She's coming
Patrick's
again.
dream always was to do a podcast together where we would be talking about, I don't know,
Marriage.
parenting stuff. And marriage.
Parenting,
Yeah, but
in
I think
particular
that
parenting.
we need to improve our lexicon for this. All we can do is he can talk about coding and I can talk about online writing and newsletters.
Yeah, we need more vocab
That's why we are like ads in the other.
in the other
other
sphere. In the other
person's
sphere,
show.
yeah.
So this is the
I'm not
Patrick
doing
God's
ads
online
on
web.
your newsletter.
Huh?
I'm not doing ads in your
You
newsletter.
could.
Okay.
You could.
How much are they?
You don't have to pay anything.
We should do the parenting podcast. I think
I don't
that would
think
really parenting and sleep
But
deprivation.
what we could do, of course, one day we could go live and tell them a bit more about, how to do all this while, having 2 kids in the house and
The business
also
side of everything.
full-time job and everything.
Yeah.
So like the messy,
The real world, the real stuff.
being a bit vulnerable,
Yeah, and sleep
making
deprivated.
our message, all the messy
Okay.
stuff going on
Okay,
here.
you wanted us to have an evening, so let me
Unfortunately,
finish
I can't
implementing
code
the
otherwise
endpoint.
because for me it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, keep doing your stuff now.
Yeah, because
I will add the
thing
endpoint,
here is if
and
you're
then we're
talking
done.
all the time, I can't write. Because I need to focus for this.
You should have thought about that before. You said go live.
Yeah, I know.
The
I
magic is
encourage
in the
people-
live.
I know.
That's her message. The magic is in the live. All right, minimal API endpoint. I want to use Carter now, so let's do that real quick. At the I'm sweating now. It's really hot up here under the roof in the attic. Where is it? Manage NuGet packages. Browse. Jesus. Carter it is. That's the one, Jay Shannon, yes. Carter is a framework that is a thin layer of extension methods and functionality over ASP.NET Core, allowing code to be more explicit and most importantly more enjoyable, I think, using reflection. Right, Bob? Okay. Panayota says, I think Christina will be satisfied if you write an app for her. So
Yeah.
I told you, if you have an app idea,
to do with Substack.
a Substack app, another Substack app. Oh no!
In case there is someone out there who's interested in Substack, just like the go-to platform at the moment for publishing.
It's true,
because
there
not
are a lot of
about
tech
newsletters
writers,
anymore.
yeah. Lots
If you are
of tech
interested
writers
in
there.
something like this and would want to, create an app for Substack, this would be awesome because there are many people. I have one of my tribe members, Fintropy, and he, for instance, he created a software which now helps people to schedule their posts on Substack Notes. It's like a social media platform on Notes where you can earn money with one post. For instance, $20 or so for one post. So show me another platform where you can do this, even if you have no people, no audience, they're following and so on. And yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, definitely tell Patrick about it because it is, how do you call this in software development? Like,
I don't know.
there's
what
a
you
gap
want.
in the market and you could fill this.
As a
And there
tech-
are people, charging.
charging real money.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And Finn, for instance, he offered this on Gumroad. I helped him promote this, so you can see this on my channel. And we got for my channel, this is huge, 1,000 views and so on. But I helped him really to reach more than $100 per day, making $100 per day with the scheduler. And now Finn is also offering me some more apps, or how's it called, like software, how do you call this?
Apps, web apps,
And so
whatever.
on. Yeah, if you're interested in this is definitely something, and then you can tell Patrick about it because, Substack doesn't have an API, so it's a bit, but Patrick can tell you a bit more about this.
No
So,
public API,
Again,
yeah.
this is like a huge opportunity for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I try to focus on writing code, but it's not that easy when someone speaking in your ear. Okay, anyways, so Elias says, Patrick, it seems like you picked a difficult time to go live. Yeah, you think? Okay, guys, let me just write the endpoint here and see if Copilot is right about that. Is it? Not sure. We don't really need the mediator here. actually just want to use the sender because the mediator uses also events. This is not the case with the sender, but this comes from the mediator package. And then we say sender here. And this should actually be correct, I think. All right, API customers. And then that, and then we need Carta. Not suggested. I hope the installation worked. Using Carta not here? No Carta? What's up with Carta? Manage your packages. Carta. Let me save everything first. Install. Did not work. We need other packages. But which ones? Microsoft Code Analysis C# could be the case. Well, so much to Carta and how easy it is. Okay, let's try Microsoft Code Analysis C#. Okay. Maybe this one it is. Let's install. Accept. Let's try Carta now. Code analysis common. I think it needs newer versions. Something's not right here. If you know what's going on here, please tell me in the chat. Okay, now it seems to be installed, right? So let's go back to get all customers. Is it suggesting Carta now? Yeah, all right. Okay, so now we also have the endpoint. I hope this is right. Maybe I forgot something. Yeah, of course. I did. We have to register Carta. In the programs, yes. Yeah. So, and mediator, of course. We also forgot mediator. So builder services, and first add Carta. And then add the using directive, I guess, or the reference, and then builder services, add mediator. And I can never remember that. Config. Jesus, Copilot. Register services from assembly. Type of program assembly. This should be it. Alright, anything else? Map Carta. App map Carta. Alright. And unfortunately no explanation here. No one here. Yeah. At least here for mediator registers handlers and mediator types from the specified assemblies. But what sorry about that. What Carta is doing in essence, again, as Bob said in the chat. Oh, new member, thank you so much for joining. Welcome, a new supporter. Thank you so much. But I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it an N? It's so the font size is so small in the chat. I don't know, is it? Tell me how to pronounce this, please. But anyways, thank you so much for joining. This is amazing. So now we got, Carta. I wanted to tell you, Carta, what is Carta doing? In the end, it is scanning your whole project for the interface, right, that we used here, the iCarta module. That's the one. And if you have an endpoint, then this thing is registered and you should be able to access this endpoint. But there's one last step. You know that since .NET 9 we don't have Swagger anymore, but we have the Open API, as you can see here. And it says adds Open API services related to the default document. Default name is also version 1, like that. But to test this, I would like to use Scala. We could also use Swagger, but Scala seems to be the new cool kid on the block. So here it is, Scala ASP.NET Core. You see that over 1 million downloads. Amazing. When I started, it was like 10K. Amazing. Okay. We got that, and now we have to register this thing as well. And this is done with just one line here. App, map, map, Scala API reference. Oh, like that. Add the parenthesis, add the reference, and this should be it, hopefully. Let's run this. I don't know why you did not get notified about this, Ashley. This was really spontaneous. If you like this, then I should plan this. And then maybe you get a notification about that. I don't know. Maybe you have to activate the bell. Sorry about that. Yeah, HTTP file would work. That's true. But I like the graphical user interface. It's the same with, we had the debate before about VS Code, using VS Code and Visual Studio, and I like clicking, using the mouse, you know, right-clicking, having a UI and not using the CLI all the time. I know you feel, I also feel like the cool coder when I use the CLI, but yeah, I also like using the user interface. Yeah, but there's one problem. We started the web API, but since .NET 9, we don't, or by default, it is not running or opening the browser. So we have to check what we got here. So application URL, HTTPS, and oh, Jesus, I always forget. Is it Scala v1? Yeah, it is. All right. This is the URL. You have to remember that. And now we got our, oh, even the weather forecast still there. Nice. But we got the models. Granted, this is not that nice when you're using vertical slice architecture and you call this just this generic response name, but it is here. But we got our API test endpoint here. We can test the request, and of course we do not get any result back. We get an empty list here. So now let's go back to SQL Server. What do you say, HTTP? Don't you need to give Scala the path to the open? Nope, not necessary. Well, it's not totally true. What this thing is doing, it is grabbing the v1. I think when we go back and then go to the program CS, and let's say we initialize that with version 2, for instance, then this should not work. So it's rebuilding. I hope. Build succeeded, it says. Okay, let me just reload. And there's nothing there now, see? But when I now say version 2, there it is. So by default it's v1, and this is why v1 works. And you have to enter it. So, not for Scala. I'm out. Fun stream. Have a good night. Good night. Thank you very much, Bob. What up? A video on complete clean architecture. Why we use it? What's the use case? It's a humble request of your new subscriber. Thank you very much for subscribing, Abdullah. I can do that, but this would be a big one, right? Clean architecture is really a big one. All right. Anyways, last step for me would be to just add a customer there. And actually, we should use first name, last name. because Peter Parker is already violating the first rule. Peter@parker.com. No phone number is active. Yes. False. Can we add a daytime now here? Let's just keep it at that. It's not nullable. Oh no. I think in that case, 2025. What do we have? March 21st. Show me. Nope. We need the time. Let's just say 12. This should. What is it? Not committed. Error. Can I insert the value now? Oh, for the ID, of course. Yep. We need a GUID real quick. Free GUID generator. Generate some GUIDs. There it is. Phone. It's not nullable. Okay, now we have a customer. That was hard, but we now go to our API again, and let me just change that back to version 1. Like that, save that, restart the application, and also manually restart it here. Test the request, send. We get our customer, finally. Well, that was hard, but it works now. And let me do one more thing. So if you're interested, you can get the code. Let me just upload it real quick to GitHub. Make this public. You see the URL down here. GitHub.com, Patrick God. It's really my last name, if you're wondering. CRM API Live. Create and push. So with that, you get also the code. All right, so for today I am out. So tell me please again in the comments, or I don't know, in the community tab via email, reach out and tell me what you thought about this live stream. If you want more live stuff, what you want me to cover, if you want to continue this series, so many questions. Thank you so much for joining again. If you like it, check out the the channel of my beautiful wife sitting next to me. And yeah, and maybe you want to join the membership. That would be also nice, supporting me a little bit. And with that, you can also get early access to upcoming YouTube videos. So, all right, that's that. Oh, and of course, I have to plug the .NET Web Academy. Currently, Spring Sale is running. So if you want to join, now is your chance. Thank you so much again for joining. And I hope I see you next time when we're streaming or when I upload a new video. So, bye-bye. See ya.